Students, now from today we'll start R.S.Agarwal. So we are already done with 3 chapters from NCERT book, that is integers, fractions and decimals. So the same chapters will now practice from R.S.Agarwal. Now from R.S.Agarwal will not do all the sums, but I will select some specific sums from some specific exercises. Okay, so the first chapter that I have selected is chapter 5, fractions. Okay, so my first sum is sum number 7 of question number 1. Okay, so from exercise 5C, we will not do question number 5A and 5B because all the sums which I have seen we have done in NCERT book. So there are some specific sums I have selected for today's session, that is from exercise 5C. That is, the first sum is sum number 7 from question number 1. Okay, so what we have to do in question number 1? So in question number 1, we have to write the equivalent fraction. That is 5 equivalent fraction of 7 by 9. Okay. So how to do all these sums? Now if I give you any fraction and I ask you to write 4, 5, 6 equivalent fraction, then how exactly you will do? So the first thing that you will do is, you will write this fraction here. And the first number that you will select is 2. Okay. So you will have to multiply 2 with the numerator as well as the denominator. So what is the required fraction then? 14 by 18, isn't it? So this is the first equivalent fraction of 7 by 9. But how many equivalent fraction we have to write? 5. It is given in the book. So it is the first equivalent fraction. Now again you have to write 7 by 9. What is the second number you have to choose? 3. Okay. So we have to multiply 3 with the numerator and with the denominator as well. So 7 3s are 21, 9 3s are 27. So this is the second equivalent fraction of 7 by 9. Now what will be the third equivalent fraction? Again we have to write 7 by 9. And what would be the next number? That is 4. So 4 7s are 28, 4 9s are 36. So this is your third equivalent fraction of 7 by 9. What is the fourth one then? 5 7s are 35, 9 5s are 45. So this is your fourth equivalent fraction of 7 by 9. And the last one, we have to multiply with 6. 6 7s are 42, 9 6 are 54. So these are the 5 equivalent fraction of 7 by 9. Okay, so this is how exactly you have to do. Okay, the first number you have to select 2, then 3, then 4. Depends how many equivalent fraction you have to write. Okay, now let's move on to the next sum. That is sum number 3 of question number 2. Yes, now in sum number 3, 2 fractions are given and you have to say that whether this 4 by 7 and 16 by 21 are equivalent to each other. So how to make a judgment on this? So if this type of question comes that 2 fractions are given and in the question it is written that whether these 2 are equivalent or not. So what you have to do? You have to do the product of these 2 numbers. You have to find the product of these 2 numbers and also the product of these 2 numbers. So we'll find it out. Okay, that means we have to multiply 4 and 21. 4 and 21 and we have to find the product. And similarly, the same thing we have to do with 7 into 16 also. Now, what is the product of 4 and 81? It is 84. And what is the product of 7 into 16? It is 112. So are they same? No, they are not same. So if they are not same, that means they are not equivalent to each other. And if they are same, if they would have been same, then we could have said that yes, these 2 fractions are equivalent to each other. But in this case, what you will write? That 4 into 21 is not equals to 7 into 16. Hence 4 by 7 and 16 by 21 are not equivalent fraction. Okay, so this is the solution of sum number 3. Now let's move on to the next sum, that is sum number 1 of question number 4. Now sum number 1 of question number 4, what we have? So we have to find the equivalent fraction of 5 by 9. So we have to find the equivalent fraction of 5 by 9 having denominator 5. So in this case, what is the denominator? 9. So we have to convert this 9 into 54. So how to do that? So first of all, we will write this required fraction 5 by 9. We'll give equals to sign. And then since we have to make this 9 to 54, so we'll write 54 here. Now, see one thing. 9 is greater or 54 is greater? Obviously 54 is greater. So when the pattern is as such that if the denominator is smaller and you have to find the greater number, fine, the denominator is smaller and you have to convert it into the greater number, then always you remember that you have to multiply. Fine, but if the reverse happens, suppose if the denominator is greater and you have to convert it into the smaller number, then in that case you are supposed to divide. Okay, we'll do that type of sum also. Okay, now in this case, you see, in this fraction, denominator is 9 and we have to convert it into 64. Now you have to decide. Now you have already understood that we have to multiply. Now what is the required number that has to be multiplied with 9 to get 54? Obviously it is 6, isn't it? 9 6 are 54. Now when you multiply 6 with the denominator, the same number you have to multiply with the numerator as well. So 5 6 are. So this is how exactly you do. Okay. Now let's move on to sum number 8-1. Now question number 8-1. Sorry, question number 8, sum number 1. What we have, again we have to do the same thing, but here something is different. That is equivalent fraction of 56 by 70. Again we have to write equivalent fraction of 56 by 70 having numerator 4. Now this time we have to convert this numerator into 4. We have 56 students, so we have to convert this into 4. Now first of all we will write the required fraction. Now what we have to make the numerator? We have to make the numerator as 4. Now as I have already discussed, when you have to convert the greater number to smaller number, then in this case you have to divide. Okay. The previous sums we were converting the smaller number to the greater number. That is the reason we multiplied. But here this greater number need to be converted into the smaller number. So in this case we have to divide. Now what is the required number that has to be divided by with 56, so to make the answer 4? So what is the required number? The required number is 14 students. Okay, that is 14 divided by, that is 56 divided by 14 will give you 4. Or you can see it in this way also, 14 into 4 is 56. Okay, so when you're dividing 14 with this number, so you have to also do the same thing with the denominator also. So 70 divided by 14 is what? So this is your required equivalent fraction of 56 by 70. Okay, now let's do the last sum for today's session, that is sum number 5 of question number 9. So in question number 9, you have to convert the required fraction into the simplest form. And what is the simplest form? When you see that the numerator and the denominator has only 1 as a common factor. But in this case, we can divide. What is the common factor of 72 and 92? Fine. So we have 2. So we can reduce these two numbers with 2. That is 236 are, 245 are. So are these two numbers are having only 1 as a common denominator? No, we have 3 also. So we have to reduce it. So 3 12s are, 3 15s are. Again you check that whether this 12 and 15 are having only 1 as a common denominator? No, this time also this 12 and 15 can be reduced by 3. So 3 is a common denominator, common factor for these two. So 3 4s are 12 and 3 5s are 15. Now we can say that 4 and 5 doesn't have any other factor rather than 1. Okay, so this form is called simplest form. Okay students, so that's it for today's session. Thank you so much. I hope all of you have understood whichever sums I have showed you today. So take care, stay blessed, and God bless you all.